Alright, so you just received in your brand new turntable and you're trying to figure out how this thing goes together. It's all in pieces and parts, and you got all these little doodads and whatnots, and got a little piece of paper with a bunch of lines on it. You're trying to figure out how all this stuff works. Okay, we're gonna walk through it piece by piece, and we're gonna put this turntable together. You got this thing here. You don't know what that is. You got this thing here, you got this thing here, you got this power supply, you got some kind of cord that plugs into your computer, and then you got this belt. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a look around our turntable. We have our tone arm, and like I said, cartridge head. There's a cartridge, there's a little cover on your cartridge. Got the turntable itself, little wheel belt goes around this little part right here and the outside of this little wheel, and we'll just go ahead and stick that together. So you put the long piece of this little wheel down into the center of the hole, and of course yours might be different, but they're basically all work the same, especially if you have the RetroLife turntable by RetroLife, which I highly recommend. Very nice turntable, and you'll notice that this spins very, very smoothly. Okay, very smoothly. And RetroLife doesn't want you to pinch your belt when you put it on. They want you to use some sort of little plastic tool. Tool may or may not have come with your turntable, and some of the tools you're going to need is this little plastic part. You're going to need a level, like this little level, to level up your foundation where you use your turntable on a regular basis. You're going to want to make sure that foundation is also good and sturdy. You don't want to put it on something where it's going to shake and move around. Good sturdy foundation. So we're going to use the level, and then you're going to need some sort of little screwdriver. And yes, that screwdriver does look like a lightsaber. If you want to know where I got it, just ask me in the comment section, and I'll respond and tell you. Okay, so some of the other parts that you received in this kit is this little doodad right here. Okay, this goes on the back of your tone arm, and this is a weight to set the weight to level and set the weight for your playhead. Okay, this is a protractor. We're going to use this and you always want to keep this protected. Don't let it get bent or anything like that. This is going to help us make sure that our cartridge is aligned for playing records, you know, where it sounds good. Okay, you received this little flimsy looking thing. This sits on top of your platen. And your platen is this larger, round, heavy piece right here. This will sit on top of here, and it just protects your record from this hard surface, but it also provides a little bit of cushion, so it makes it kind of cushions the record while it's playing. And you receive some speaker wires. You got your if you have this same kit, you received a couple of speakers. RetroLife has built some really nice wood grain type speakers here, and you can also inspect these speakers. You just got a little edge right here. You put your finger in, and you can just kind of wedge this cover off, and you can inspect your speakers. So it's a pretty nice deal. And to put it back on, you'll notice these little tabs here. They just go in these little holes, and then you just kind of press it back on. On the back of the speakers, you're going to hook your speaker wire up into these little sockets. The way you do it is you just push these little tabs down. See, just like so. And then you put your wires in, and we'll go into detail how to do that. A little adapter here. This is so you can play your 45s, the small records with the large holes. this is what this is for. And you received a power adapter, and you receive this cord that hooks your turntable up to your computer so you can record your vinyl on digitally, and then you can take that and listen to it in the car, and it sounds just like you played a record. And I'll show you in another video how to use this with your record player and your computer and walk through the software and that sort of thing. It's a little bit different deal than just setting up the record player. You've probably got an instruction manual and a warranty card. And you got this clear piece. This is called a dust cover. Okay, it's made out of acrylic. It will scratch and it will break, so be careful with this. You're going to see that you have this little cover on the end of your needle cartridge. Just leave that on right now. Even if your instructions say to go ahead and take it off, just leave that on right now, because that protects your needle from damage. So we've already put our little platen drive wheel on here, and just walk you back through that. You got a little hole in the center on this RetroLife SY101, and you got this little wheel here that has a short little knobby piece here, and it has a little bit longer knobby piece here. Okay, the longer little knobby piece goes in this little center piece right here. Okay, and you'll notice it goes in nice and easy, and it turns very smoothly. The next thing you want to do is put your belt on. Now you got this little belt right here. The manufacturer does not want you to pinch the belt with your fingers. Okay, they want you to put the belt on this platen wheel, and you fit it over the platen wheel like so. Okay, and don't worry if it's not just perfectly on there. It'll straighten out once you get everything turning. Then you take your little plastic tool, okay, and you put that in this little gap. Put your little, then you're going to wind up with something that looks like so. So it goes around the little brass pulley and around the platen turn wheel. Alright, next we're going to put our tone arm counterweight on. You'll notice it has these little numbers here, and it has this, they'll sort of turn on this weight. They'll turn on this counterweight. And you have this little screw here. Don't mess with that screw, you don't need to. Unless it's about to fall out. And if this screw is about to fall out, then take a small screwdriver and just kind of snug it up. There's a spring behind that little screw. Keeps tension on a little pin that's located inside here. You really don't want to mess with that unless you absolutely have to. You notice you have these little spirals on the back of your tone arm. Take your numbers part and go on to your tone arm, and then you just rotate it a little bit, and you'll feel that little spring-loaded pin kind of fit onto that spiral part. Then you just turn it a little bit on that spiral until it kind of sets on there. That's really all you have to do to that right now. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we're going to turn the turntable. I'm going to turn the turntable back around so it's a little easier. Hopefully it's a little easier for you to see. Okay, we've got this belt on here, and I turn it a little bit. You notice that it evens out on the outside band of this little wheel. Okay, so next we're going to put our platen on top of our turntable wheel, and just be very careful. This platen is heavy. Okay, you don't want to drop it and break. You don't want to drop it and scratch anything, and you don't want to set it down real hard. You just kind of gently set it down. And you'll notice it just turns very smoothly. Very smoothly. At this point, you really want your turntable to be where it's going to stay, where you're going to use it. Okay, and then you take your level and you're going to level your turntable two ways. You're going to level it going across this way, and you're going to level it going across this way, that way, and that way. Okay, and the reason that you want your turntable level is because this little needle has to fit in the groove correctly on your record that you're playing. If it does not fit in your record groove correctly, you may notice humming or noise, or the record just may not play correctly at all. So I've got these little pieces of cardboard here, and this turntable, this particular turntable, has 3 legs up under it. Yours may have 3, yours may have 4, depending on your manufacturer. These little legs are not adjustable. Yours may be if you have like an Audio Technica, but so I'm going to use the cardboard to level up the turntable. Bubble is going to sit right between those 2 little black lines in the center. If it was off a little bit, it would look like maybe that or that. Okay, but level, it's going to sit right between, that bubble is going to sit right between those 2 little black lines, and you're going to level it. After you have leveled your platen, then we're going to level the tone arm, and we're going to level the tone arm using this little weight right here. First, you have to take this little needle protector off, and the way that you do that is you just slide it forward. You're not going to put any pressure down this way. If you accidentally push your cartridge off of your cartridge head, I'll show you right after we do this, I'll show you how to put your cartridge head back on. But all you're going to do is take this little needle protector and you're going to slide it forward. You slide it forward, and then you notice that your needle is exposed at this point, and you can see your needle is this little black piece hanging down here. Don't want to touch that. You don't want to touch it on anything. You don't want to drag it on anything. The only thing that this needle should ever come in contact with is your record. And you want to hang on to this little needle protector because you may need it in the future. So you're going to unclamp your tone arm, and you're going to place your tone arm set lever in the down position, and being very careful, you're going to make sure that you're wing down and allow your needle to touch anything. And that is the rest for your, that is a tone arm rest. The tone arm rest is controlled by this little lever. You have your tone arm set away from your platen. You're going to turn this little, you're going to turn your little weight back here on your tone arm until your cartridge head just kind of floats. And you're going to turn your little tone arm weight back here till it's probably just about to fall off of the tone arm on the back end. But what you're looking for is you want your needle to just kind of float. Just kind of float right above the platen. And that is called leveling your tone arm. And you can see how the needle is just kind of floating. Everything is just kind of floating right above the platen. So that would be level. And if your tone arm weight is just barely hanging on to this little spiral part of the tone arm, then you may have to hold the weight with one hand and adjust your dial with the other. But what you want to wind up with is 0. Take your time and get that level. This is a pretty critical part, because you want to make sure that the correct weight is applied when you play your records. You want to make sure this is good and level. So now we have our weight zeroed. Double checked our cartridge head and made sure that everything is still level. Everything is at 0. We want to look in the owner's manual and double check the specifications for the particular needle that we're using. And the specifications here are telling us that we are using specifications in our owner's manual here telling us that we're using an Audio-Technica AT3600L. Okay, and it says that the recommended tracking pressure is 3.5 grams, give or take half a gram. So I don't like to ride my needle too heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the arm back in place, and I'm going to set this dial to 3 grams. Alright, now, is that a true 3 grams? I don't know what they use to calibrate this with, so I'm just going to say 3 is 3 grams. Some people are accidentally going to push down on their cartridge, and the cartridge is going to come out like so. Now, you have not destroyed your turntable. Okay, this cartridge is designed to come out and be replaced if necessary. All you do is you just place this little piece into that little notch that's in your turntable head. You just very carefully, you just swing it up, and it just fits right back on. You probably feel it kind of click. It's a very simple step. I've swung my hinges back so it's easier to attack. All you do is you just align this little groove onto this hinge, and you just sort of press it into place, and then you have your dust cover attached to your turntable. Just gently and easily move that up and down. Now, this dust cover does not move backwards any more than that. It has 2 positions. Okay, this next part is very critical that you have this accurate. Okay, you're going to use your 2-point cartridge alignment protractor. It's got a little hole here. The little hole fits onto this little piece in the center. You want to be very careful. You want to unclasp your tone arm. Be very, very careful, because now you know your needle is exposed. You're going to lower this arm so that your tone arm is allowed to set. Okay, now what you're looking for is you have a little crosshair. You're going to set your needle down on that crosshair with just a minimal amount of movement, and you're going to see if your cartridge is aligned squarely with the lines that are drawn onto this protractor, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, and you can see that this cartridge is aligned squarely with those lines as the needle is on that crosshair. Now, if your cartridge is not square, if the face of your cartridge is not square with those little lines on that piece of paper, then you're going to want to adjust your cartridge. You're going to want to align your cartridge so that it is square, and the way that you do that is you loosen these screws a tiny bit, and then you'll notice that your cartridge will slide either forwards or backwards in the cartridge head, allowing you to align the front of this cartridge so that it is nice and level and square with these lines on your protractor. And each time that you adjust this, you want to pick your cartridge up very gently, set it in your arm holder, put the clamp down, secure it. You want to make a very small adjustment here, either move this forwards or backwards. When you make your adjustment, you're going to tighten your screws back, not very tight, just a little snug, and then you're going to unlock your tone arm, and then you're going to double check it. You're going to put that needle right down on that crosshair, and you're going to see if it is nice and square on these lines. After you get this one correct, then you'll notice that you have another set that is further in on the piece of paper, and you'll do the same exact thing there. You put the needle down on the crosshair, and you'll see if your cartridge is aligned with those lines. Now, you may have to do this a dozen times, back and forth, back and forth. Take your time and get this right. It's extremely important to get this correct so that your records play correctly. If you don't get this correct, then you'll notice that either on the inside track or the outside track, your record may make a humming noise, or it may skip. This next part is pretty simple, but I'm going to walk you through it. You have speaker wires. You have a left side and a right side. So you have these little tabs on the back of the unit, and you're going to just kind of press that tab down a little bit, and then you'll notice you have a little hole there, and you're going to insert the red to red and the black to black. So I'm going to push that little black tab down, put that wire in that little hole, and then I release the tab, and you'll notice when you release the tabs, your wires are held securely. Now I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. So I'll push the little tab down, put the wire in, push the little tab down, put the wire in. It works the same way on the back of your speakers. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you how to put your hook your power adapter up to the back of the turntable. But I'm not going to plug this into the wall yet. I'm just going to set that to the side. You have a little place here where it says DC in, and you'll notice that this little power plug fits right in there. Okay, for right now we're not going to get into the RCA jacks or the switch or the PC connection or the ground at this point. And now I'm going to bring my speaker wires around. And I have a left side and I have a right side. And for the right side, I'm going to use this speaker. Just like on the back of the turntable, I'm going to press that little tab down, and I'm going to put that wire in to the little hole. Press the tab down, put the wire in the little hole, release the tab. Now you can see the wires are secure. Okay, so that will be my right channel. That will be my right speaker. Push that little tab down, put the wire in the hole. Push the little tab down, put the wire in the hole. Assembled our RetroLife SY101 kit. Remember, extremely critical, everything is level. Whatever you put your turntable on is level. Platen is level. Your tone arm is level. Your cartridge is aligned correctly. You're going to have the proper amount of pressure on your needle. But I did find this record that was made in the early parts of the 1900s. And I know that we can play it and we won't get a copyright strike, but this record has a lot of scratches on it. A lot of scratches. Now remember this record was made in the early parts of the 1900s, so